Hey my loves, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey girl, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you stick around and join. Don't forget to hit that subscription button and don't forget to hit the bell. I'm a mother, a wife, and I love sharing tips, tricks, hauls, and vlogs in the mix. I do hauls on Fridays, Mommy Mondays, where we discuss topics of life, motherhood, homeschooling, wife life, you name it, anything that encompasses, reaching our full potential and just enjoying this journey called life. Now, in today's video, I wanted to discuss the top most popular approaches to homeschooling, and they are school at home, and this is where you'll have your basically homeschooling. The parents may set up an area specifically designed for learning with chalkboards, desks, basically taking the whole structure of traditional school with the scheduling and everything and just transferring it to your home setting, where it's basically you're learning everything that you would learn in a classroom and in a classroom setting just inside the house, and the area will be designed specifically just for school. So you'll have your schoolroom inside your school, inside your schoolroom inside your home. Biblical or religious-based schooling. Now, these are faith-based homeschool philosophies where there's a lot of reciting and memorization and biblical approach to education. And this form of homeschooling is usually inspired by someone's faith. It's basically a faith-based approach to education at home. You have your classical education. This is sometimes referred to as the Socratic method and was popularized by Susan Wise Bauer, who's the author of The Well-Trained Mind. This approach to learning looks to shape the mind in 3 stages. You have the concrete from K to 6, the analytical from 7th to 8th, and you have the abstract, and that's from your 9th to 12th grade years. Now, this form of learning approaches the basis of the developmental stages that the child is going through. It's very age-orientated and level-orientated. Classical education focuses on the art of speech and of communication and language, the history of it. And it also focuses on art and learning art pieces and about artists. So you'll find sometimes in a classical home setting where the parent will have, for a particular week or so, or for their learning time, a piece of artwork with information listed under it, like the artist, the time, the era, whether it was like the period, like if it was the Renaissance period. You will find that. You will also find Latin words and the memorization of Latin root words. So it's a very classical structured way of learning. Number 4 is the Waldorf or Waldorf inspired. Now this one encourages kids to get out and explore nature, get involved outside, get hands-on. They want to be naturally active and playful and curious, and then later on expose them to the myth and artistic works, storytelling, and literature. This approach emphasizes holistic learning, weaving together arts and humanities and science. This approach believes in educating the whole child, head, heart, and hand. For this form of learning, electronics are a big no-no, especially for younger children. Electronics are typically considered to have a negative impact on learning and development. Number 5 is Montessori. Now this educational approach was created by a physician, Maria Montessori, in the 1800s. This approach encourages interest-led learning, movement, collaborative learning, and learning in context. It's an approach that says to learn something, you want to get fully involved in it. For instance, if you're learning about water pollution, in the Montessori approach, you would take a field trip to a water treatment plant rather than just discussing it. The Montessori approach also discourages against eccentric rewards. So you want to make learning for learning and minus the, oh my goodness, you did such a great job, here's a prize, here's a reward for it. And a lot of times those that follow the Montessori um, parameters for learning, they'll set up an area in the house geared towards that practice. So you'll have learning boxes, you'll have activity stations, so that they know that this is where I go to learn, this is where I go to grab this. Number 6, you have the Charlotte Mason. The Charlotte Mason approach looks to using living books as opposed to textbooks. Charlotte Mason was a British educator that believed that children were not blank slates or empty sacks to be filled with an enormous amount of just information. Again, this is another one that is about educating the whole child. Emphasizes literature, language, art skills, history, science, life experience, nature, narration, and dictation. They believe in short lessons and expanding on the knowledge of God. Number 7, unit studies. Unit studies is learning a topic in its entirety. You may do a whole month on a particular topic or an entire year based around one specific parameter. For instance, if you're learning about the life of a bee, you'll encompass all of your studies, science, English, handwriting, vocabulary, all around learning about the life of a bee. The unit study covers everything in its entirety. Number 8, technology-based education. This homeschooling approach will involve internet-based prepackaged Common Core curriculum, which may be available online or via DVD or CDs. This form of education may be a teacher-led curriculum where your child would log on to a website, for instance, the Khan Academy, K-12, Laurel Springs, or they may even watch YouTube videos or different, basically technology-led resources. Number 9, the eclectic homeschooling. Now with this one, it's more of a relaxed framework where you will take a patchwork, if you will call it, of different areas that will fit a child individually. It's somewhat of a more custom approach. Here a parent may decide to buy a prepackaged curriculum for one subject, have the child-led learning for another subject, or just use library books to fill in for the other subjects. It's more of a child-centered approach to learning and more of a laid-back, relaxed framework, as I said. Number 10, unschooling. This is more of a subset to homeschooling. This is really a child-led curriculum, child-initiated learning. It's geared to letting the child basically plan their framework for the day. For instance, if your child asks you a question of, Mommy, why is the stars in the sky? And then you build the curriculum on stars in the sky, and then in the midst of the child wants to learn something else, you switch and you teach that child what they're interested in at that moment. The term unschooling was coined in the 1970s by an educator and homeschooler proponent, John Holt. The unschooling philosophy approaches education through curiosity, play, experiences, classes, and more of a parental hands-off approach. Now, I also want to emphasize that no one way is the right way. What's important is what's right for your family and what's right for your little one. I personally I don't adhere to one set standard of learning. I believe the Waldorf inspired about the whole child. I do agree with that. And I think with teaching the whole child, you need all of it. I really am a firm believer that you need your classical, you need your Montessori, you need with some of the unschooling, because I want my child to be interested, ask questions. If they want to learn a particular topic, to speak up about it and go after it and learn as much as they want about it. And I always want my child to follow their heart and gain as much as they want out of this world. I do believe in having a faith-based learning, because that is my belief and my personal and family belief. We believe in God, so I do believe in including faith in our learning. I do believe in Charlotte Mason, in that a child should be hands-on. They should be learning out in the world. They should be getting dirty, touching dirt. I believe in technology. I believe in educating the whole child. So I don't believe in adhering to one parameter of learning, because you may need to branch off. You may need to go over here to borrow a little piece of this, borrow a little piece of that. And you shouldn't feel bad for it. Some people get so wrapped up in titles that they feel trapped and they feel enclosed. And then some people feel so pressured into picking one one form of education or not. It's almost like the whole, do I homeschool or do I send my child to traditional? People sometimes feel bullied into making a decision, and you shouldn't have to. As I always say, as long as it's the right decision for your family and for your little humans, who is anyone else to judge? And if you do pick any one of the homeschoolings, go for it, rock out with it. I wish you all of the success in the world with it. But if we can take the things that shouldn't be stressing us out, take that out of the equation, it can lighten the burden of life a little more. So, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate you. Comment below. What's your philosophy you follow, if you follow any? If you don't, comment that too. Let's have a conversation. I love and enjoy speaking with you guys, and I love learning about you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I hope I answered any questions that you may have had about philosophies. If you're new to the homeschooling environment, you may want to know, well, what is this? And for some of my veterans, to ease you up a little bit, to say it's okay if you want to switch from Charlotte Mason over to Montessori, or switch over to, you know what, this is a bit overwhelming, let me sign up for K-12. It's okay. Whatever you do, rock out with it. And until next time, stay positive.